Alright, Josh here, and welcome to a little team analysis video. Now, analysing teams is something I have never done before, so hopefully I can do alright. And, yeah, I've not got a script or anything, I'm just kind of winging it, so just bear with me. But basically the other day, Trainer Tower released an article with pace for Ultra Series teams. I'll link it in the description so you can check it out. That, you know, that are popular on the Showdown ladder at the moment. If you've been playing, you'll definitely recognise some of them, if not all of them. And I thought it'd be a good idea to go through them and look at ways I could potentially beat them, because I've been playing a lot of Ultra Series, and I've been doing a lot of team building, and I've got some teams that I like, but like I had one the other day, really liked it, was doing really well, and then I bumped into RayOrge and I got decked, and then I must have bumped into it about 15 times over the course of that night, and I think I won once, and that was because of an opponent's mistake. Now that's not good. Like, you don't want an auto loss against something like that popular, and you don't want to rely on your opponents making mistakes. So it's like, okay, how can I make this team better? Or is this team just not that good? Like, do I need to go back to the drawing board? So I thought, okay, so if I look at all the teams on the Trainer Tower thing and make notes about them, you know, certain mons or moves that could be good against those teams, like for example this one, for example, like if you 5 teams on the Trainer Tower thing, say Kyogre's, you've made notes and Kyogre's good against 4 of them, it's like, okay, maybe I should use Kyogre. Or this one, for example, moves like, you don't want to be trapped in by Gengar when it's with Kyogre or Rayquaza and you can't do anything. So maybe like U-turn or an eject button mon. I'd say Volt Switch, but Togedemaru is there. You know, would be handy. Alright, just going to talk about the team as a whole very quickly. I'll be doing little cuts, by the way, on editing, just so I don't waffle on or go off track. Obviously, it's based on Wolf's 2016 Worlds team, and with the Gengar, Rayquaza, Kyogre, Bronzong. Then we've got Togedemaru over Raichu, which I don't agree with. And we've got everyone's favourite Intimidator, Incineroar, over Hitmontop. But yeah, it's a great core. Rayquaza, Kyogre just works so well together. Scares off Groudon. You've got Trick Room mode as well, which is quite important, I think, in this format. Something I've noticed on the ladder, that a lot of the scarier teams are like, yeah, you don't really like, they've got a Trick Room mode and a fast mode. Potentially, this one hasn't got Tailwind, but there are a lot of teams with Tailwind and Trick Room, and it's really hard to play against because you have to have a lead that is prepared for both, which is, you know, it's not always simple just to have a lead that counters both Trick Room and Tailwind, so that is something that you should definitely be prepared for. So Mega Gengar, this is a bit different to Wolf's Mega Gengar. I think his was bulkier. Can't remember the exact spread. It definitely had less. Actually, I probably do actually have it somewhere. Look at all these teams. There's still some X-Rays and Xerdons. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was Wolf's spread, or it was very similar. Like, it was like, I'm pretty sure it was 172 special attack. Let me make sure I haven't lost that Tina. Yes, it's here. So this one's more offensive. I personally always like the 1 extra point in these, but this guy's just going full out attack. That's absolutely fine. Sub Gengar is, I've seen that a few times. It's very scary to play against. And obviously Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb, the 2 stabs. Pretty sure Wolf's was more support, had Taunt and Skill Swaps. That's something you should potentially look out for. Skill Swap is really, really good. Great move. And obviously with the Shadow Tag, Gengar can just trap whatever it wants in. And yeah, I mean, for example, if Gengar's traps in a Tapu Koko and you've got Togedemaru, it's completely useless. I played a team similar. It might have actually been this team, and I got trapped in. I can't remember exactly what I led. Xerneas. I think I led Xerneas Volcarona because I was kind of expecting them to Trick Room with Bronzong, and I didn't want to overheat it. I wanted to Whirlwind it, and my opponent led like Gengar, Togedemaru, I think. So I Rage Powdered. Togedemaru Volt Switched out. Does this one have Volt Switch? Should do. Oh no, this one does not have Volt. It definitely gets Volt Switch, right? Yeah. Volt Switched out into Kyogre, and then yeah, it was just bad. It was a bulky Gengar as well, so it could just tank hits from Xern. Kyogre was just Origin Pulsing, chunking away at Xern even at +2 to special defense. Obviously Oak Code Volcarona, and it was just really rough from there. So Gengar's like control over the field is something you've definitely got to be prepared for. Like, I would really recommend at least having, I don't want to say, like, I'd say Volt Switch to get out of the trap, but Togedemaru exists. You could always run a Ghost type. Obviously, Lunala is really good against Mega Gengar, because Shadow Ball won't KO you, and you can OHKO it back. I'm not sure if Moongeist Beam, I would imagine Moongeist Beam would probably OHKO, but obviously Lunala Z would definitely OHKO. You know, or you could just switch out Lunala for better positioning. You could also run a different Ghost type. Aegislash is something I've been trying out, and I really like it, but you have to be careful with it, obviously, especially against Lunala. Like, Menacing Moonraze Maelstrom, what a mouthful, wipes the floor with Aegislash, so you do have to be very careful with that. Now, ways to beat Gengar. Now, a lot of people have just been going on the classic quick answer, and I don't think it's very good, but everybody seems to be using it, which is Scarf Lele. Yes, Psyshock probably just OHKOs, or Psychic even. You could probably, if you were running bulkier Gengar, you could probably live it, but like, this team just has so many ways just to defeat Scarf Lele. All you need to do, you could leave Mega Gengar still, even against a Scarf Lele. You pair it with Bronzong, Togedemaru, or even Incineroar. Like, Lele can't really touch those particularly well, depending on its partner. You know, if Lele's partnered with Kyogre or something, you know, it's going to be pretty decent against Bronzong and Incineroar, and you know, it'll even do a lot to Togedemaru. But let's just ignore the partners, just focus on the type of Lele for a second. So, you know, Bronzong can just Gyro Ball it or set up Trick Room. Togedemaru can just Nuzzle it, or Incineroar can just, well, this one doesn't have Snarl, but it could just, if it does have Snarl, it can just drop its special attack, and then Lele's just sitting there kind of useless. Or you could have something with Icy Wind sat next to Gengar to slow Lele down. But I think Nuzzle's a good option for Scarf Lele, and then Gengar can obviously just OHKO it with Sludge Bomb or Shadow Ball if you want. So yeah, I don't think Lele's the best answer. People are using it as a quick fix for the time being, but I think that will drop off. Other good answers to Mega Gengar, like I said, Lunala's fairly good, but you're probably going to take a lot of damage. Yveltal would be really good. I'm pretty sure Dark Pulse or something would get it. Depends if you're running special or physical. Physical's more common. I don't know. Foul Play wouldn't do Foul Play wouldn't do a lot. But obviously, like Knockoff, Snarl, Sucker Punch as well. You got to be very careful of that. Would do a lot, but it depends on what type of Gengar it is. This is like quite an offensive Gengar with sub. There are more support Gengars. As I said, Wolves had Skill Swap and Taunt. You can also run Disable. Be very careful if you run into Mega Gengar if it's paired with a Whimsicott. Be careful you don't get caught in like an Encore Disable trap. That is super bad if that happens. What else does Gengar get? There is a couple of things. Yeah, Perish Trap as well. Be very careful of that. That's why I said you probably need some sort of way of getting out of a Gengar trap. Will-O-Wisp is the other big one. Be careful with your Mega Rays and your Kangaskharns and your physical attackers that aren't fire types, basically. And one of my favourite moves on Gengar was always, as you probably saw on the other one, that spread I kind of nicked from Wolf, Icy Wind. I really like Icy Wind on Gengar, just for speed, because it's so fast you're pretty much guaranteed to get off, especially against something like Mega Salamence or something like that. And it will do a lot as well. Hypnosis is another one if you go up against, like, I saw someone running Scarf Lele with Gravity and then Gengar Hypnosis, or Sableye with, you know, Prankster Gravity and Hypnosis. So just be very careful of, because yeah, Gengar can also Trick Room. Gengar is kind of a mixed bag of tricks. Just be very wary of all your options when you're basically playing Gengar. Next up, we have probably my favourite mon that's been released so far. Like, I'm having so much fun playing Mega Rayquaza. It's an absolute monster. I've tested a few sets out on Mega Rayquaza. Obviously, this one is Swords Dance. I think that's probably the best one, to be honest. The amount of pressure you put on if you get a cheeky Swords Dance off, the amount of pressure you put on with extreme speed, obviously, as long as it's not Psychic Terrain or a Serena, is insane. And you're pretty much faster than most things. The only things you're not really outspeeding are obviously Tapu Koko, Gengar, Mega Salamence. There's a few other things like Salazzle and Weavile and stuff like that, but you know, those are the more common ones. I suppose Pheromosa as well, that can run Ice Beam. But obviously with Tapu Koko, you know, you're safe with Togedemaru with this team. But yeah, just getting, if you're +2 extreme speed, just does so much damage to even Xerneas. Like, even if you're facing, like, this team, like, it does have a lot of answers to Xerneas. I mean, Gengar, Bronzong, and Togedemaru all do very well against Xerneas. And Mega Rayquaza, Dragon Ascent just does so much damage, even at neutral. Like, it kind of depends how bulky the Xerneas is, to be honest. I think no bulk, you could definitely two-shot it easily. I'm pretty sure, I saw a calc the other day, like, Choice Band, Dragon Ascent just picks up the Oko on no bulk Xerneas. So, you know, if you're at +2 and you've got the speed control over the Xerneas, like you've nuzzled it or something, absolutely golden, really. So Mega Ray obviously partners well with Kyogre, covers its grass type weakness really well. You know, Dragon Ascent is just going to deck a lot of grass types. Like, my favorite grass type is probably Katana, but it feels really hard to use in this format because of stuff like Mega Ray and Mega Salamence. And yeah, with the focus sash on Ray, it's just, you know, you've got that guaranteed live. You can Sword Stance, you've got that guaranteed live, and then you can get a potential +2 extreme speed off on something. That just does so much damage. Ways to beat Rayquaza. I mean, I like using... I mean, Xerneas is an obvious one, but you have to be very careful still. Like, Dragon Ascent is just going to do a ton, and if it gets a Sword Stance up, extreme speed is going to be doing a ton as well, so just be careful. Like, you can't just win against it with Xerneas. It doesn't work like that. I quite like using priority against it, like Feint. Mega Ray versus Mega Ray is quite funny. If you just want to get rid of it, I've seen... Well, I did think that maybe like Draco Meteor on Mega Salamence is quite a good way. If you're really having a problem with it, just, you know, just chunk it straight away, take it down to the focus sash, and then you can kind of deal with it later with some sort of priority, fake out or feint, or your own extreme speed. Slowing it down's good as well. If you've got your own Mega Ray in the back, if you get an Icy Wind on it or a Nuzzle on it, that's super helpful. Burning it's really good as well. You could potentially use your Mega Gengar if you're using that with Will-O-Wisp. Something I've actually been using is I was using a Ray Xerneas team, and my support. Well, I had 2 support ones, but one of them was Volcarona with a Cobra Berry, and it can live a Dragon Ascent. But with that burn chance of Flame Body as well, it was so good. And then if that burn does happen, you break the focus sash, and then Xern just takes care of it. It was really clutch. So yeah, like I said, it pairs really well with our next blue friend, Kyogre. Kyogre, obviously, with the blue orbs, gets a little buff. Special defense goes up by 20. I think the attack goes up as well, but that's not important. Speed, HP the same. Defense, I think, is the same. Dude, quote me on that. And special attack goes up by 30. I think it was 150 before. So this is obviously like a bulkier set. Slower, so it works well in Trick Room. It was actually Origin Pulse, Ice Beam, and Scald. So no Water Spout on this one. I usually have my Kyogre like to outspeed Smeargle, and I like Water Spout over Origin Pulse just because I just don't like the accuracy. No, I was just checking if this had gravity to help support it. Other moves you could potentially have on Kyogre are like Thunder is very common. Obviously, I've said Water Spout. You don't really see much else. I did see Icy Wind a couple of times actually. That's kind of good. I like the idea of Icy Wind on Kyogre because it's bulky enough to get those off. Psych Up is something else you could potentially see, but I've not seen that yet. I don't think that would be potentially common. I would like Modest Kyogre. I think Modest Timid, or like maybe Bold if you want to be really bulky. Obviously, it's taking a bit of a different role than in. I mean, you could train your Kyogre in Sun and Moon series to live a +2 Moonblast from Xerneas. This just obviously with the special defense boost takes it a lot better, and you can still hit back pretty hard. Like in Sun and Moon series as well. All it was Scarf Kyogre, and that is actually still a thing. Just be wary that on some of these teams with very similar cores, I have seen just normal Kyogre with Water Spout, Scarf Kyogre with Rayquaza. So just be careful of that, because I got caught off guard by that, and I lied really badly against it because I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, Mons that can beat Kyogre. I mean, I'd say you want to be switching in your Groudon, but if you're using Groudon against this team, just be so careful of Ray switching in. Like, either try and get rid of that quickly, or have your own. If you've got like a Mega Gengar or something, just try and keep it. Try and just control the board a little bit if you're going to try and use Groudon to stop Kyogre. And it can still Ice Beam you, and that does do like decent damage. Obviously, Xern is good against, well, it's not amazing, but it does chunk it down. But if it's bulky like this, you know, it's not going to be OHKOing anytime soon, and it will still hit back very hard. And you've got to deal with its partners. Grass types, as I mentioned, Ray kind of, you know, be careful. Gengar and Rayquaza kind of cover those. Not that you can't use them, I'm just saying be careful. And the same with like electric types. Obviously the most popular being Tapu Koko. I suppose you could use Zekrom. I suppose that's obviously not affected by Lightning Rod, but that's not exactly common, is it? Although it's not actually too bad against this team. You'd have to cycle Intimidate. There you go. Zekrom's not actually a bad shout. But yeah, that's about it for Kyogre. One other mod that's not too bad against Kyogre is Tapu Fini. Just before we move on, you could suppose hit it with Moonblast, but I think more like support sets better. Nature's Madness is good as long as it connects. Excuse me. Icy Wind is a good one as well to slow it down. If it's a faster one, or you know, potentially getting light screen up as well, would be really good with Tapu Fini. And obviously this set specifically doesn't really do a lot to Tapu Fini. If he's running Thunder though, be very careful. That does a lot of damage to Fini, so just be careful of Thunder. Moving on, we have the lovely Bronzong. Now Bronzong on this team is Lum Berry, which is pretty interesting, but it makes sense. You don't want to get put to sleep by a Moongus or something when you're trying to Trick Room, if you really need to Trick Room against a Moongus. That's nice. You've also got Safeguard, which obviously stops you from status, which I think is really important. Gyro Ball is a staple. Trick Room obviously is a classic one, and Skill Swap again is another one. Swapping Levitate onto stuff is ace. I mean, this team has what, 3 ground weaknesses, and swapping it onto Kyogre is really good as well. They're giving Kyogre Levitate, and as well, like if you're playing a Groudon and you don't bring Ray, for example, you can obviously Skill Swap the Primordial Sea back onto, I couldn't remember the bloody name then, and it was Summit Sea, Primordial Sea back onto Bronzong, and you know, you get the rain back up, and at the same time give Kyogre Levitate, so it's not being hit by ground moves, so that's really nice. This is just like max special bulk. Like I said, this one has Levitate. If you're running Bronzong with Groudon, do consider heat proof, because you don't want to just O-code by like an Incineroar Flare Blitz or something like that. That's not ideal. But Bronzong is definitely one of the best Trick Room sets. I did try Bronzong on a Groudon team. I've been using it quite a bit, but I was running Psychium Z, so just be wary that that is a set as well. This is Lum Berry, but Psychium Z is very common as well, and obviously with that you get the accuracy increase, so Sleep Spam could be incoming, so you might want your own Safeguard or Tapu Fini or Tapu Koko to help deal with that. Although I was using that Hypnosis like Psychium Z, and I swear to God I missed more Hypnosis still, even with the accuracy increase than I hit. It was unbelievable. But yeah, that's Bronzong. I mean, ways to beat Bronzong. Groudon is very good at beating Bronzong. Obviously, when it's paired with Kyogre, it becomes a bit more difficult, but still doable. Kyogre itself does a decent chunk of damage to Bronzong. Lunala is fantastic against Bronzong. I don't know about this spread exactly, but I would imagine that probably the Menacing Moonrail's Maelstrom, what a mouthful, probably OHKOs it. If not very, it probably should do. I would imagine it did. So yeah, do be careful of that. With this set, you can taunt it to stop Trick Room. Obviously you can't do that with the Psychium Z set, which is why I use that. But with the Psychium Z set, yeah, you can't taunt it, but you can put it to sleep. So it's like depends what you need really. This set, you know, you can't put it to sleep, but you can taunt it. So just be wary of that if you're going to use this set in particular. So a couple of other common moves on Bronzong. Obviously, if they're running the Psychium Z set, Hypnosis is very common, and also Gravity as well. Especially if they're running Groudon, they don't want to be missing Precipice Blades. Precipice Grades, I nearly said. What? But yeah, this is quite an interesting one. A lot of these, like this, you know, it's quite straightforward. But sometimes, like, you don't even need to go that in depth on the spread. Sometimes, you know, this wants to be especially bulky, and you know, it does the job. So yeah, Bronzong, great mon. And then next up we got, it's actually Assault Vest. I was wondering what items these were running, because Ray's got the, I suppose it does make sense. Obviously Ray's got the Focus Sash. That's the only other item I'd really say Togedemaru can really run. Yeah, I mean, it's a fake out mon. Lightning Rod is fantastic, you know, protects Kyogre amazingly, especially now that well, obviously Tapu Koko's a thing. It's good for, you know, not risking the speed tie with Mega Gengar. There's nothing worse than going for a Koko Gengar speed tie. Like, just try it. Obviously you wouldn't have to with this, you could just switch Togedemaru in unless you didn't bring it, but yeah, I think you would do if your opponent's got Tapu Koko. Zing Zap, great move. Nuzzle is absolutely vital, great speed control against stuff like Mega Ray, especially against Xerneas is great. Like you've probably seen me run Raichu a million times and use Nuzzle, just spam Nuzzle, it's such a great move. Super Fang is a good one as well. The other move I've seen a lot is Endeavour, because that was on Wolf's team with the Raichu, but Raichu doesn't have access to that anymore. They can run Iron Head as well, so just be careful with your Xerneas, because that will still do a decent amount. Spiky Shield as well if you're trying to fake it out. An Encore potentially, but I mean, Encore could be a thing, but obviously this is Assault Vest. If it's not Assault Vest, just be wary of Encore, and obviously that's why Spiky Shield isn't a thing as well. But like I say, just be very careful of Encore and stuff if you know you're not faster than Togedemaru. Does that speed like Tapu Lele and stuff, so you know 96 is like a decent speed stat. And this thing is actually a pain. Like, first time I played this team against it, I was like, Togedemaru, oh, that's fine, I'm not bothered about that. But it was a real pain to deal with. Like, it really put in a lot of work. So yeah, just be kind of wary against it. So ways to kind of stop Togedemaru: if you don't want to use Xerneas nuzzling, use Redirection. If you don't want to be paralyzed at all, use Terrain. Just use Finny. Have a good ground type. Obviously Groudon's good against it, but you know the rest of the team's good against Groudon, so you know that covers that. I suppose you could use Landorus as well. I've been using Landorus quite a bit actually. He's actually good against this type of team, especially because, you know, at max speed obviously it can outspeed Kyogre. Gets the Intimidate on Ray, does well against Mega Gengar as long as it's not got Icy Wind. And yeah, I think Lando's quite a good one. Well, obviously you could use a Fire type, but again, be very wary of Kyogre. You're fine if you've got rid of it. See, I mean, you can hear what I've been saying. Yeah, you can get rid of this, but be careful. Like, this team has a very good synergy. Like, really good. Very good. I think I might try it myself, actually. It seems really good. And then the last one is, yeah, I keep seeing this. This is an interesting one. So I can't. It's really surprising to me that this is actually popular, but you know, it does the job. I mean, it's got Incinium Z, which turns Darkest Lariat into, I can't remember the name of the Z move. Oh yeah, Malicious Moonsault. A lot of moon names in the Z move. So we've got Fake Out, U-Turn, Flare Blitz, Darkest Lariat. That all makes sense. You obviously can still Flare Blitz with Mega Ray out. Oh well, you can still Flare Blitz. Obviously, just be careful if you don't bring your Kyogre out as you try and Flare Blitz. I have seen a couple of people do that. This is actually Adamant, which is interesting, but I guess this Z move decks Lunala. I don't know. I'm just guessing that's probably what it's for, the attack. It'll deck Mega Gengar. It'll probably deck Bronzong as well. So Incineroar is actually quite a good answer to those. Gengar can't really do a ton to Incineroar. But this, I mean, this is bulky, obviously, but it's not super bulky. Obviously, in Sun and Moon series, everyone was running that 236. Careful. So this is frailer, and obviously you have to be very careful of Kyogre and Groudon, because both of those were just doing a chunk to you. But you know, Intimidate is such a good move, and U-Turn's really good on Incineroar for, you know, especially if you're going against an opposing Gengar trap, you can just U-Turn out, Cycle Intimidates against whatever. And yeah, it's just great support. Couple of other moves you want to probably watch out for. I'm sure you all know. Probably don't even have to go this. Snarl, obviously, is a big one, and Roar. Yeah, I've seen Roar quite a lot. Snarl is a really common one. Knockoff, nowhere near as common, because I mean, you've got blue orbs. You've got the 2 orbs. You can't knock those off. You can't knock off a Mega, and you can't knock off a Z move. So look, if you look at this team, there's only 2 Pokemon on this team that can actually be knocked off. So it feels a bit pointless. Like, Darkest Lariat is definitely better if you're running Incineroar. Obviously, this has got Incinium Z, and it is good. I didn't think it would be, but I've it's beat me a few times, caught me off guard a few times for sure. It does do a lot of damage. Obviously, other common items are the 50% berry, and Assault Vest is potentially another good one. Like obviously on this team, Togedemaru has the Assault Vest, but you could run the Assault Vest on Incineroar. I think that makes sense, because obviously Kyogre's a big one to to just take it out. I don't know if you. Still don't think you probably live like a. Maybe you could live an Origin Pulse with an Assault Vest. I don't think you'd live a Water Spout in rain though. I don't know. I'd have to calc it, but yeah, that's Incineroar. So yeah, just from playing on the ladder, I would consider this team probably the best team at the moment. It's very difficult to beat. It has so many options. It feels like it doesn't particularly struggle against anything, as long as you play it correctly, obviously. You've got the Trick Room mode. Kyogre's protected really well. You've got the offense with Gengar and Ray, and obviously Kyogre as well. It's like a mixture of really good support, really good offense, great type synergy, and yeah, it is a real pain to deal with. So this is, if you're team building for Ultra, this is a big one to take into consideration, 100%. And yeah, I don't think I really have much else to say about this team. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hope it was okay. I did say it was like an analysis at the beginning, but I might actually. I think it was more of like a discussion about this team and the Mons and kind of the format as a whole. So let me know if you like this type of thing. I was planning on doing it for some more teams. I think there was 5 or 6, and there was a couple of others that I thought I'd go over. So I could do these every few days if that's something you're interested in. But anyway, cheers for watching this episode, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all in a bit.